Bruno Fernandes.
Ronaldo is hungry for more, but Fernandes goes himself.
Nuno Mendes.
To the middle, Nuno Mendes. Nuno Mendes! What a response!
And of course, none other than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, what an effort that is! And a stunning Ronaldo goal!
With a new generation of talent hitting its prime and guided by some of the game's most seasoned veterans, Portugal are becoming exactly what the World Cup feared. No longer outsiders, no longer just a dark horse. They're arriving as real contenders with unfinished business. But for all their continental success, does Portugal have what it takes to claim football's grandest prize on the world stage? Last year's Nations League triumph was a high point in what has otherwise been a mixed tapestry of results for Portugal at major tournaments. Their best World Cup showing in recent memory came in 2006, when they reached the semi-finals but suffered a narrow 1-0 loss to France. Most recently, they reached the quarter-finals in 2022 only to be stunned by Morocco, the tournament's surprise package and the first African nation to reach the last four. Overall, their best finish remains third place, courtesy of Eusebio's 1966 side, while they have still never reached a World Cup final. But before Ronaldo's debut in 2003, Portugal's major tournament record was even more virgin-like. Just 3 World Cup and 3 European Championship appearances, no major trophies, and a reputation for talent that rarely translated into consistency. However, since Ronaldo's emergence, that narrative changed completely as the Seleção went on to qualify for 6 consecutive World Cups and 6 straight Euros. Even more impressively, they added 3 trophies to their cabinet: Euro 2016, the inaugural Nations League in 2019, and the recent Nations League in 2025. And so what began as modest tournament qualifications has blossomed into continental triumphs, making Portugal's rise alongside Ronaldo not just noteworthy, but a golden era defined by one of football's all-time greats. They're now heading back to the World Cup, but their road to qualification wasn't without its share of drama. After beating each group opponent in their first meetings, Portugal were held at home by Hungary and then stunned away against the Republic of Ireland. The latter result made messier when their talismanic captain was sent off for his MMA antics and suspended for their final group match. Portugal nonetheless managed to clinch top spot in Group F at the third time of crushing Armenia, thankfully not in a genocidal fashion lest we forget, and handing Ronaldo the chance to appear at a record 6th World Cup. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, we'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. Your support helps us grow and continue creating the content you love. It's hard to talk about the Portugal team without touching on the tragic death of Diogo Jota last July. Jota, who had represented his country 49 times and scored 14 goals, almost certainly would have been part of the World Cup squad and offered another attacking option for Roberto Martinez. But as much as nobody wanted the spot to open this way, one of the forwards will have to step in and fill the void he left. Rafael Leao remains one of Portugal's most electrifying forwards, though he has rarely been used as a central striker for AC Milan. Martinez has sometimes deployed Leao as a second striker in a 3-5-2, but the manager's preferred systems usually feature a lone forward in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Those more comfortable playing through the middle are Gonçalo Ramos and João Felix, although Felix's best role is likely behind the striker, the same position he has occupied since joining Ronaldo at Al Nassr last summer. Ramos, meanwhile, has grown used to influencing games from the bench at club level, often coming on in the second half for PSG's first-choice forward Ousmane Dembélé. And even when the 2025 Ballon d'Or winner has been sidelined by injuries this season, Ramos has still found himself playing second fiddle to 19-year-old Seni Mayulu. The poor lad can't catch a break. When given a starting role for Portugal, however, Ramos has more than justified it with 8 goals and 2 assists from 7 starts, including his headline-grabbing performance in Qatar, when he was picked ahead of Ronaldo in the round of 16 against Switzerland and delivered a hat-trick. Yet, the strongest case against Ramos or any other forward starting is rather simple. Ronaldo is still prolific even at the ripe age of 41. He finished as the Saudi Pro League's top scorer for the last 2 seasons and has been Martinez's primary goal-scoring outlet since the Spaniard took charge of Portugal in 2023. Across the 2 most recent campaigns, that being the Nations League and World Cup qualifiers, Ronaldo also led Portugal with 13 goals in 14 games, including the crucial second-half equaliser in the Nations League final against Spain that sent the game to penalties, which Portugal ultimately won. History also favours sticking with a proven talisman, as recent World Cup winners have all typically leaned on one prolific forward. Beyond Ronaldo's goals, there is the experience that comes with his more than 30 trophies for club and country, as well as his leadership, having captained Portugal since 2008, all of which makes it highly likely that he will be involved in some capacity at what will be his final shot at the sport's greatest prize. That said, Ronaldo's record across the last 2 major tournaments paints a more sobering picture. He went goalless across 5 matches at Euro 2024 and managed only 1 goal, a penalty no less, in 5 games at the 2022 World Cup. That's a single goal in 10 top-level matches.
Can he put behind him the last 2 major tournaments that he has struggled? If he can do that, they have a chance to go a long way, because the rest of the team, they got a lot of talent.
He also isn't anywhere near as physically dominating as he once was. Among outfield players who logged more than 700 minutes in the Nations League, he covered the second least amount of ground. Sure, strikers typically cover less ground than midfielders and fullbacks, but for context, Norway's Erling Haaland, who absolutely crushed all goal-scoring records during qualifying, ran further despite playing 200 fewer minutes. Of course, age changes how you play, just like how at 30 it takes every ounce of my energy just to bend down and pick up my keys. Conserving energy, timing runs and reading the game become as important as raw athleticism. Only time will tell whether Ronaldo can still be that decisive presence up front.
If he reacts well, if he supports the squad, everything's going to go perfect. But if he starts, behaving like, I want to play, it's not normal, that's going to be a problem. But I believe that the guy is a smart guy. He knows that he's 41. He knows that he cannot play every game. And so I want to believe that Portugal is going to be very, very good and a real threat for any team in the World Cup.
Despite a touch less squad depth than European heavyweights like England and France, Portugal boast a well-balanced team across the board. Ruben Dias organises the backline with a voice his teammates trust. Next to him, Gonçalo Inácio brings different strengths, particularly a left-footed profile that opens up more passing angles in the first build-up phase. Diogo Costa sets the tone in goal, inviting the press and calmly distributing, either to Vitinha or João Neves if the angle is on, or out wide to Nuno Mendes and one of Cancelo or Mateus Nunes, who can all drive with pace or step inside to form passing triangles. From there, the team aims to break the opponent's first defensive line in 2 or 3 touches and attack their backline before it can reset.
There's world-class quality in midfield, there's experience in the centre-back position, there's competition in goalkeeping position, and up front is where the real creativity comes in.
In what is among the strongest midfield trios in the world, Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes are the reference points that Martinez rarely does without. Bernardo sets the rhythm and slips past pressure, while Bruno supplies the engine, late runs and line-breaking passes. Floating between them is Champions League winner Vitinha, whose blend of press resistance and tempo control makes him one of the best midfielders in the modern game. His club teammate João Neves brings boundless energy and quick decisions in tight zones. Combine this with the attack we've described and Portugal boast a matured squad with genuine championship pedigree and momentum heading into this year's tournament.
In previous years, there's always been an area where you can attack them. But I think as we saw that team just there, where is the weakness in this team?
It's now down to luck, circumstance and managerial ability to get them over the line. Martinez is broadly the right coach for Portugal. His tactical clarity has tightened their defence, unlocked a world-class midfield and delivered silverware, while his use of international breaks to build partnerships suits a squad heavy on technical players. Yet he also carries risks. His system-first approach can stifle individual improvisation. Selection dilemmas around Ronaldo and the younger forwards can threaten chemistry, and a history of cautiousness and mistimed substitutions in knockout moments could leave Portugal short when matches demand boldness. But if he can navigate those trade-offs smartly, Portugal have a very real shot. If not, those same issues could be the difference between World Cup glory and another narrow exit. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.